Hey readers, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. It is probably a little bit too late to be doing this, but here I go anyway. I thought it might be fun to talk about 5-star reads for each quarter. So today I am going to be talking about all of the 5-star reads I had for the first quarter, January, February, and March. The very first book that I have is also the very first book that I read in 2022, which was really fun. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I loved this book. I still have not read Beach Read yet, but I did just finish Book Lovers this week, and you will be seeing it again soon. There's your spoiler. Anyway, I loved this book. I thought it was unique and different, and those are kind of synonyms, but I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed the friends to lovers trope. That was not something I read a ton of. I don't read a bunch of romance, so I really had not read that trope before, but I really enjoyed it. The next book is the second book I read for the year, and that is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Yo. Okay, my introduction to Kristen Hanna was not good. I read, what's the one that got adapted to a show? It's on my bookshelf over there. Maybe it's not. Maybe I've gotten rid of it. Oh my gosh, the one about friends. I hated that book. And then I read something about the winter, like the winter garden or something like that. Hated that one too. I was like, I think Kristen Hanna's just not for me. Then I read The Great Alone, and that changed everything. That was like probably my second most favorite book of last year. Then I read The Nightingale, loved that too. And I'm really glad I gave this one a chance because I hesitated. I did not get it last year when it came out for Book of the Month, but I did a swap for it at the end of the year and loved this book. It was a great one. Next up is another author that I have read a few of her books now, and I would like to get through a lot of her backlist, and that is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I loved how this was not the romance I expected it to be. It was just such a sweet, almost like a love letter to mothers and daughters. This was a powerful book. I was boo-hoo crying at the end of the book. And so I have the physical copy, but I also had it on my Kindle. I was reading it in bed, finishing the story while my husband was asleep next to me, and just like sobbing, but trying not to shake the bed or let out any noise. So it was quite the experience finishing this book, but beautiful, 5 stars. The next book I had, I borrowed from the library, so I don't have it physically, but I'll pop up a picture. And that is The 100 Years of Lenny and Margo. A friend of mine told me that she thought I would love it, and she was correct. It was a beautiful story. I could not put it down. I think I finished it in a weekend. Oh, so good. Highly recommend. Okay, the next one, as you can see, I am working my way through. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I put this one off because I knew it dealt with DV, which is the work that I did after grad school, and all throughout grad school too. And so it just felt like a little too heavy to read when that was the stuff I was doing in my work life all the time. But I think I have no regrets about putting it off the way that I did, because when I did read it, it was so powerful. And I think, again, had I read it sooner, I probably would have been a little more resentful toward it and either DNF'd it or just like pushed myself through unwillingly. So I'm glad I waited on it, but it was so good. Also, you probably won't be able, oh yeah, you can tell in this screen at least. I had a bowl of soup, which was this delicious, spicy hamburger vegetable soup that I made. And my husband and I both fell in love with it, and I've made it like no less than 12 times. If you want the recipe, I'm happy to share. But I spilled some soup on the top of it. Cool. I'll be keeping that book for life, for sure. The next one is The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglin, and I loved it. I knew I would. I think Jackie and Jesse and Gwen and everybody that I watch on BookTube who has read it have all given it 5 stars. So I knew I would love it, and I sure did. It was a really fun read. It's a short one, and all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, which I now have too, so you can read it on there. The next one was influenced by my husband. He is a truck driver, and so he loves audiobooks, and I was like, there's this book that I think you would enjoy. You should try it. So he did, was absolutely obsessed with it, and told me I had to read it. And because he had already gotten the audiobook and I had a book of the month copy, I listened to it audibly as well, which I 10 out of 10 recommend, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Oh, who knew you could fall in love with an alien, and not in a weird way, like just heartwarming kind of way. Oh my gosh, I loved it. Yeah, so this was an unexpected surprise, but I could not get through it fast enough. Every spare moment that I had, I was listening to it and reading it, and I loved it. The last 2 were also library books, so again, popping their pictures up, but the first one is Honor. That was a Reese's book club pick, and I will try any book from her book club. I don't often love them, but there have been some good ones. I tried this one, and this was a good one. I loved it. It was a glimpse into like Muslim culture that I really had not read much of before, and Hindu culture, same thing. And yeah, it was a great book. It had me kind of on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. I wouldn't say it's a thriller, but it's just like really intense contemporary fiction is how I would categorize that. The last one is The Appeal, which I have discovered I love mysteries told through mixed media, and this one was all mixed media, text messages, emails, files, etc. I borrowed the physical book and the audiobook from the library, and that was the way to go. It was so good. I loved that audiobook and just loved the experience of reading the physical book too. The whole story was so great. I have seen some mixed reviews. Some people don't seem to love it, but I did. It's not like the greatest quality of a story. It was just a great experience. At the time I'm recording this, it is like mid-May. So I already have some 5 stars for this quarter as well. So I cannot wait to share them in July for this quarter. Thanks for letting me play a little bit of catch up with quarter 1. Those are all my 5 stars. Highly recommend. If you've read any of these, what did you think? Or if you haven't, are there any you are adding to your TBR? But I think that will do it for me. So with that, go drink some water, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!